senior year is happening. It's senior season.
That it is. Damn, that's a lot of years gone by really quick.
How do you feel now that you're at the top of the high school food chain? You're there now.
No part of me wants to be here. Dude, knock me back a couple grades real quick.
Just fail some grades right now.
For sure. All I have to do is not do homework for a week and my grades are wrecked for the entire year. Because I'm pretty comfortable right now. But being a senior means in 10 years, or not 10 years, 10 months, I'm no longer going to be in high school, which is another change. And that brings on a whole lot more, troubling ideas, starting new again.
So quick fix, just don't, guys. Don't do it.
Oh, yeah, don't graduate.
Hi, welcome to the 18th ever episode of Young and Terrified. I am your humble host, Katy Someillan, and today my guest is Victor. Hello, Victor.
Hi, Katy. I'm Victor.
You're Victor.
I am Victor.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm Victor. I'm more than okay.
How have your past 24 hours been?
Interesting. Beach Bash was last night. For those of you that don't know, it's a Columbus dance thing. Only Columbus guys are allowed to go, and then they bring a ton of other people in. And that's always an interesting event. There's a lot of dancing and yelling, which are two of my least favorite things.
And this is more of like a freshman senior thing, and I made the mistake going when I was a sophomore. So what can you say about your experience as a senior going to this?
I only went freshman year and senior year, and I didn't change much between freshman year and senior year. So there was nothing different except the friends I went with, to be honest. When I went in freshman year, I didn't have many friends to go with. And then I just had a group of people I went with senior year.
So in some ways you can say you've changed and stuff because now you have friends versus none,
That is an important change. I probably have changed a lot between freshman year and senior year. But when it comes to my attitude towards those kind of things, just not my kind of fun.
Yeah, because you've always seemed like a chill dude and just I've known you since oh God, too long. I can't remember, I think kinder, yeah. I've known you since kinder, and at least from middle school parties we've been to, you're not that type of dude. I remember we really became friends at a party, a Halloween. We were at a Halloween party, and oh my God, and you were listening to I think it was Fall Out Boy. You were listening to you were listening to Fall Out Boy, and me and another friend, we came up and we were just talking about Fall Out Boy, and I was getting into them and all that pop punk stuff.
Well,
has something changed from then?
Yeah, definitely my music taste. That's a big one. Before it was strictly emo music. Now, I pretty much listen to everything. I never thought I'd get into rap.
You got into rap?
If you haven't listened to Aminé's new album, 1.5, highly recommend it.
Well, we're gonna get more into that right now. So what do you listen to now, as you said, which I am very surprised.
Well, I'm listening to just about everything right now. The two bands or artists I could say I've gotten into recently are definitely Somersault, Summer Space Salt, two different words, and Aminé. Two completely different genres of music. Somersault is just the most chill. Almost all their songs sound the same, but they're all different enough that you could listen to them all in a row and never get bored of it.
24/7 study beats.
Yes, I could do anything to Somersault. I think there's 3 hours worth of music, and you play it and never stop playing it.
Yeah, so basically it's all study beats and all that stuff, which is weirdly taken rise from the internet because, once again, 24-hour study beat live stream with the anime girl there writing. Yeah, that's been a highlight of my high school career, just listening to that while doing homework.
Probably the latest thing I've seen on YouTube, music-wise, I've really enjoyed is a guy named Jack Stauber.
Who is he?
Yeah, he creates these weird VHS 4x3 animations, and lately he started superimposing music over them, and it's definitely nothing I've ever heard before. Closest thing I could put it to would be something like lo-fi or vaporwave, just in terms of how niche and weird it is. But if I had to put it on one, would be nostalgia. all of his videos and music are just like nostalgia based.
Yeah, it's funny how you say vaporwave because I remember that vaporwave boom in like 2016 when every single 80s song was being turned into vaporwave. I remember last year we went to a Green Day concert, and at the end of it, we were all yelling to Africa by Toto, and that has been very much vaporwaved, but I think in itself that song is quintessential vaporwave, if I do say so myself.
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't think of it.
It has so many vaporwave elements already in it, so pretty much I think vaporwave is just the rehashing of that 80s idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like long, slow notes. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I don't know music well.
No one knows music well. Honestly, no one really. People people who actually think that they know a lot about music, I think they're missing the artistic part of it, in which I don't think it's supposed to be. Yeah, music is very mathy and it's very quantifiable, but you can't put numbers to everything because that song is beautiful. And sometimes I feel like it transcends this physical plane. But anyway, so Jack Stauber, you were telling me earlier that he was doing nostalgia stuff. So what types of nostalgia does he do?
Yeah, so what he basically does is he makes these old 90s VHS-looking videos. And I wasn't born in the 90s, but I was born in that niche little period where we got kind of like the aftermath. You know what I mean? Like all your cousin's old VHS tapes. So you got the residual 90s effect, essentially. And that was close enough that anything by Jack Stauber is just pure nostalgia. Because all the videos are super random. They don't necessarily have a point to them. It's probably the most postmodern thing I've seen in a while. But it's all just meant to be wholesome nostalgia, emotional. Then you know you're saying transcending physical plane or quantifiable. No point, no way to quantify it. It's, to me personally, pure wholesome emotion. There's no other point to it than that.
And how does this nostalgia make you feel, despite being not born in the 90s? Why do you think this nostalgia just hits you so hard?
Most of my cousins are older than me, so anything that they did, I kind of experienced. So yeah, I definitely got that residual 90s effect. And then I think through a lot of, so any movie that we watched when we were kids that tried to use any nostalgia had to dip back to the 90s or the 80s because the 2000s were happening. So I feel like we've probably been trained to look to the 90s as a source of nostalgia just by popular media, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and even like today, like a lot of like nostalgia movies are like now like the big thing. Like, and not the 90s, but Stranger Things is so 80s, it's not even funny. Like it might as well have been made in the 80s because it takes so much from a lot of just different 80s works that it brings it to today. So do you feel that nostalgia does something to creativity? And does it morph what it means to be creative today?
I would probably say, to be honest, the nostalgia filter has probably tended to make people a little bit less creative for the most part. It's kind of like rehashing the same thing over and over again, at least when it comes to like big traditional mainstream media. It's like something just to capitalize on for the most.
It is, honestly.
For the most part.
Yeah.
And then there's definitely people that have taken it and done good things with it. Again, I'm biased because I really do love Jack Stauber, but pure bias there. But I would definitely say if you're looking to create something nostalgic, you're probably not going to be creative. If you're looking to create something and you feel nostalgic and you end up just kind of using that, it's probably going to turn out a lot better.
That's a really interesting idea, actually. I haven't thought of it that way. Jack Stauber, you keep mentioning him. What do you think his best works?
Shoot, his best works. He has two different Spotifys, Jack Stauber and Jack Stauber's Micropop. Jack Stauber's Micropop is just where he uploads extended versions of like his YouTube songs. He uploaded a song called Cheeseburger Family. I'm not going to pretend like that's not weird at all.
I want to know if you can describe this.
I really don't know if I can. Certainly can't sing it. So that one's not happening.
I want you to describe the feeling. What feeling does this give you?
That's definitely wholesome, happy sounding music. That's like really the only way I can put it. It's got some weird Japanese influence in that song, but really, all of his music doesn't sound the same. But for me, emotionally, it has the same end result, which is just wholesome.
Yeah, actually, last time we worked on a project together, you put on a Jack Stauber video, and there was one where everyone's like, no, you will not like this. And then I watched it, I'm like, I do not know how to feel about this. Give me a couple years, and I'll probably give you an opinion. What was that video again, and why?
Okay, so that video was called PB&J. It's an animation. There's no music component to it. It's in 4x3. He actually animates on MS Paint, I'm pretty sure. That's why it all looks so weird. But,
only the best software.
Oh, for sure. Illustrator. Whatever.
Who needs her?
Who needs Illustrator, Photoshop, any of that? Wow, if I describe this video, it's going to sound really weird to you guys. You should check it out, though, which is a father and his daughter arguing about whether or not peanut butter and jelly is a good combination, and then slowly extrapolating that to bigger issues between the family.
What are these bigger issues, may I ask?
Well, if I remember correctly, the daughter blames the dad for using his lack of understanding as a reason to control her. And then the dad's like, listen, Sadie, I know it's been hard with your mother gone lately, but we need to work together on these larger issues. And then at the end of the video, dude, listen, my God, I promise you I'm not weird. Like, you just have to watch the video to understand what I'm saying. Yeah. That's an interesting video.
It was an interesting video, and now, like, as you say it, it's starting to play back to me, and I still don't know how to feel about it. But there's a part of me that enjoyed it. Like, there was a part of my brain that like lit up when I watched that. My third eye was opened. My acne was cleared. So something about it was very, very strangely like calming, like mind control. But
that's exactly it.
It's what the corporates are using as mind control right now.
Actually, Adult Swim just hired him to do an animation. Check out Wishing Apple.
I love Adult Swim. They do such good things with their animation.
Adult Swim can either do something really good or really bad. Like, no in between.
What really bad have they done?
I don't know. I'll hop on the network every once in a while, and I'll just watch something, and it'll just seem adult just to be adult. Like when they took, this is a while ago, like when they took Ren and Stimpy off of kids' networks and tried to make it adult.
They did that?
Yeah, it was.
I don't remember that.
It was before my time to begin with, but I just know of this from surfing the internet, probably. Ren and Stimpy was always a little bit too adult for children, and then rather than just take the cartoon that they had that was too adult and move it to an adult network, what they did was they moved it to an adult network and just increased all the adult influence, you know what I mean? Just for the sake of it being there. And I feel like Adult Swim can do that a lot sometimes. But then they can put out stuff that's funny for absolutely no reason. Have you ever seen Aqua Hunger Force?
I have not.
That's actually, I think, one of the longest-running TV shows ever, because it was so cheap to produce. That show is as random as it can possibly be, and it is so funny, for no absolute reason.
Well, nostalgia. Are we ruining it? Are we killing it? Or are we overusing it? We'll figure it out when our day and age becomes nostalgia. Realize that's going to happen.
I've been thinking about that. I wonder if, emo music is ever going to be on the level of classic rock.
Oh, God. Oh, no. No.
30 years from now, there are people still, collecting vintage My Chemical Romance vinyls. I wonder. That'd be crazy.
Continuing with that topic, I want to ask you, what generation are we a part of?
We are Generation Z. 100% Generation Z. We definitely have that residual millennial effect, like I was saying, like the residual 90s effect earlier. But as far as I can tell, definition-wise, we're Generation Z.
Yeah, I feel people who say that we are millennials, I don't feel victimized by the millennial definition, but I think we're too young to be millennials, but too Not old to be considered the iPad generation, because I remember not having an iPad like growing up till I was like 12, like 12, 13, which I think is still like part of our youth, but not super part of our youth.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is our nostalgia, or at least your nostalgia?
My nostalgia? It definitely has to go back to a lot of like the stuff that I would listen to or see when I was like 5 or 6. And that was like at my grandma's house. And then with all my old cousins' VHSs and stuff, and all my cousins' old toys and stuff. Like I was playing a Super Nintendo, which came out like in the early 90s, probably until 2007 or 8.
I wanted a Super Nintendo.
I have one. It's awesome.
You do?
I actually have my old cousins. Same one from when I was little.
Does it still work?
Some of the cartridges are finally, expiring.
Oh,
That's unfortunate.
That's really sad.
You know what? It actually really is. It's cool to still have them, though.
You should have a funeral for the cartridges.
Actually, I could put them up as decoration if they're already dead.
That feels very out of context.
I mean,
that does not sound good.
Well, no, like have it up in my room, like as a memory. Not decoration. I was like, oh look, it's retro. It's cool.
Yeah, my son has lost the war. He has come back, and now he is on my wall.
No, yeah, just more like more like actually like a memory, like something to look back on. That'd actually be really cool. But my nostalgia definitely has a lot to do with back then with my cousins and stuff, looking at all their old stuff. So I mean, I don't know if everybody our age felt this way. From what I've heard from people, a lot of them do. But the residual 90s, early 2000s mix is where my nostalgia comes from.
I feel that because I had a Shrek VHS. And I was a youngling, meaning like 2 years old. Shrek came out, I believe, in 2001. I was youngling.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. It came out in 2001, and I was youngling every single night. I had to watch Shrek to fall asleep. And we'd watch up to the same part because I'd fall asleep at the same part where Fiona's being rescued from the castle. But I did that for like I think a year and a half to like possibly even more. But this VHS, we had to rewind it and replay it so often that I think we got another VHS tape of Shrek because I had almost burned that one out. So I feel Shrek was a very large part of my childhood, and just how much it's been memed today, I think maybe is a beginning of our youth becoming nostalgified.
I never even thought of it that way, yeah.
It really is. Like, we're actually, I think it's just because since we're becoming a much larger majority in the human populace, we're able to, like, meme, like, our childhoods and kind of make fun of that because we have the most influence on the internet now. And that can, like, build up. So has your childhood been memed, or has any part of that been glorified on the internet?
I can't think of any specific examples right now. I bet you one will come up 10 minutes from now when we move the topic. But what happens a lot is when people take old cartoons and just put them out of context just for the sake of memeing them. Okay, if you ever watched SpongeBob.
I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob growing up.
That's a shame.
I wasn't allowed because my parents thought I'd end up stupid. Lo and behold, I can do that on my own.
I ended up stupid too, so I guess...
It does not correlate, but okay. But yeah.
I mean, SpongeBob has been memed to no end on the internet. If you've ever logged on between now and 2010, you can see that already. Yeah.
And why do you think our childhood has been so quickly been nostalgified and put into this nostalgia machine?
I think a good part of it is probably we're moving a lot quicker nowadays, moving from one topic to the next. I would definitely describe that as an effect of the whole smartphone generation. I mean, nothing's slow anymore. When you have an inside joke with your friends or something nowadays, or there's a funny meme out, in 3 days, it's already like, all right, we get it. It's not funny anymore. At one point, things would last longer. So if we're speeding everything up, I guess you could say, it would take a lot longer for something to become nostalgified. But everything's moving quicker, so now we're moving up the date for something to become nostalgified. And along with that, I think most of the stuff that is becoming nostalgified is from before the smartphone generation.
Yeah, because it's of a brighter time in which we didn't have the opinions of everybody at our fingertips, because that's what we have now.
Mm-hmm. And we definitely weren't as desensitized. We were a lot more emotional then. So, if you wanted to, I think part of why it's become so nostalgified is that you kind of like have a date, a period of time where you could say, before this, things were like this. After that, things were different. Before the smartphone generation, things were one way. Afterwards, things were different. So it's a concrete thing to be able to look back on.
So how do you feel about kids growing up now with the whole smartphone thing and all that social media stuff?
Well, I'm not going to demonize, technology. I don't want to sound like I'm doing that. But I don't feel bad, nor do I feel good for them. I definitely can't wait to see how it turns out. It's definitely going to be very different. That's as much as I can say. Especially, just all the information one can get. It's just constant stream of information. You're always informed now. And then I wonder if the internet addiction disorder is actually really becoming a thing now.
I think I have a social media addiction. I think I do.
Yeah. I've always been afraid against social media for that. Like, the only social media I have now is Snapchat, just because I'm terrified of the whole social media boom.
I think Snapchat is both the most and least addicting, because since the update that now, like, the stories are so weird, I only end up seeing my friends' stories because that's what the algorithm kind of recommends to me. But at the same time, I'm spending a lot of time on it for absolutely, like, the little Snapchat notification bell, when that rings, and, like, if it rings and, like, I know how the vibration for Snapchat feels versus the iMessage one. When I feel that, I'm like, oh, there's a Snapchat, but I can't take my phone out during class, so I'm like, okay, I wonder who it is. It's like, it's not like because I'm, like, in any sort of, like, drama or anything, or, like, anything bad's happening. I just want to know what it was. I'm not awaiting anything. It's just the fact that that rings, and I'm like, I need that instant gratification of, I need to know what this person has said right now. I feel like the internet addiction has taken a hold of me. I'm trying to stop it, but it's very difficult. It takes a lot.
Yeah, it does. I'm not as much addicted to social media just because I don't have anything but Snapchat, and I muted that. I've really tried to...
Wow, you muted it?
Yeah, I just check it habitually. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that with YouTube. So, that's a whole nother story.
You can mute notifications.
No, but I can't... I can mute notifications. I just don't have the self-control not to check it every day.
I get that, because I can't either, but I gotta watch my abandoned Disney ride videos daily. I have to.
I mean, listen, if you don't go a day without watching Jack Stauber, what are you doing?
What are you even doing? What is life, then?
No,
what is the point?
There's absolutely no point other than to do that.
Yeah, so moving forward from that, when we first got introduced to social media, before we were all super, super addicted, that time was middle school. And that's when we really got to know each other. So how do you think 8th grade, like, not the movie, it's a great movie still.
Dying to see it.
Oh my God, it's so good. Everyone listening to this needs to watch it right now. It is a beautiful movie, and it's probably my favorite. But anyway, your 8th grade self, how do you feel like that's shaped you into the person you are now?
Well, that's an interesting one, just because I would say, like, halfway through freshman year, I tried to go through an entire 8th grade cleanse of myself. Like, that was me. Now it's not. But
this is Victor 2.0. Stand back, guys.
It was more like 1.0.1, like this different. But I tried to convince myself I was more different. All I really ended up doing was ditching the music, which unfortunately was too big a part of my identity in 8th grade.
A very large part of your identity. I think both of our identities.
Yeah, I mean, that was a cool 90% of it. Supernatural was another 8% of it, and 2% of it was original. So, it was a little bit of spark in there, but not much.
Yeah.
But as in terms of shaping who I am today, I probably have a lot of the same tendencies and opinions toward, like, I haven't changed my mind on anything huge. You know, when it comes to parties and stuff, that's just not my thing. So I wouldn't say that so much shaped myself today. It just, that part of me was already formed and never changed. So there's the parts of me that I kept, and then for the most part, everything else I trashed. So,
yeah. And it's funny, the music that we listened to was all music that came out in, like, 2005, 2008, 2009, like, all that pop punk stuff, because we're both trash garbage. And, and yeah, I feel like that has shaped me today, because I still listen to some of the same music. I went to a Panic concert, like, a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to deny that. But I think I've transcended as a person, so, like, a lot of my opinions have changed. Mm-hmm. And becoming a much more socially apt person, because I was socially inept. Me then would not have ever been friends with me now. I think the person I am now would want to be friends with them just to, like, give them, like, love and support. But, like, that person would be like, this person is too peppy. I don't like them. I don't want to talk to them. But yeah. So
fairly accurate.
Yeah. So I think it's funny how now that we're seniors, yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a very scary thought. That was a very scary thought.
Yeah. Like now that I think we're far enough from 8th grade to kind of be self-aware about that. Mm-hmm. We can actually think of that as a nostalgic time in some way. I don't know if you can.
Definitely. I have a playlist of all my old 8th grade music.
You do? Oh, please share it with me. I need to hear this.
Yeah, I will. It's, Bring Me the Horizon, Sleeping with Sirens. Oh, like, I spared no song from there. That is the full discography of middle school Victor. Just one neat playlist.
Yeah. Well, middle school. What a time. What a time to be alive. What a time to not be alive.
Yeah.
Middle school kind of was like trash, but middle school's trash for everybody. I'm convinced.
I'm sure
that not one person comes out of middle school saying that was like, ugh, that was not good.
Oh my God, yes. I had to take an art class with incoming freshmen this summer just to get my art credit. And immediately, just as soon as like one person from one school found a page from another kid from another school and saw his middle school stuff, the embarrassment was already there. I mean, it had not been a month since they left middle school, and they were already like
that's not
cowering from it.
Yeah, but I think that residual middle schoolness stays with you throughout your life. So I think we're all a couple 8th graders. There's all a little 8th grader inside of us, just kind of scared of everything.
Definitely, yeah. There's definitely the tendencies that you built then, or the predispositions that you have from middle school that, for the most part, just do not leave you.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with the episode in a little bit. Hey guys, it's your humble host, Katy Someillan, here with another housekeeping. Thanks for listening this week and every week to the podcast. And if you really like it, you can go on YouTube, you can like the podcast, you can subscribe to it, and you can leave a comment in the comment section. Sounds cool, right? You should do it. As well as that, you can go on iTunes and you can rate and subscribe to this podcast. Ratings really do help both me and the podcast out, but mostly me and my emotional stability. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Okay, you can go on Twitter at young&terrified and on Instagram at young&terrified. So those are the 2 social media links. Be posting pictures, funny tweets here and there. Podcast stuff. You get the deal. As well as that, you can follow me on Snapchat at Katy Some. That is Katy, Some. As well as all those things, fun thing that just happened, Victor, who is on the podcast right now, interviewed me about the podcast. And it was crazy and amazing, and I just watched the interview and literal tears came into my eyes. So if you want to watch that link is going to be down in the description, as well as everything else I just mentioned. So thanks to Victor for coming on this podcast. Thanks to all of you for listening, and we're going to head back to it right now. Thanks for me in the past for recording that message, but right now, Victor, I'm going to ask you a question. And that question is, if you could revisit yourself in 8th grade, as you are right now, starting senior year, and they're starting 8th grade, what words of advice or just words would you give this person? Go.
Don't feel afraid to go outside your comfort zone, but don't force yourself to either. And that's kind of an oxymoron, because if you're comfortable going outside of your comfort zone, it's kind of in your comfort zone. But, baby steps. And if you know there's something that you absolutely do not want to do, don't feel the pressure to do it, because the odds are you're not going to end up enjoying it. You know what I mean? And you're just going to kind of regret it. But there's definitely little steps you should take, little comfort zones you should get out of, because you'll definitely discover a lot of new things. If I didn't go out of the comfort zone like I did, I would have not found any of my group of friends, which are like my best friends now. So, don't be afraid to go outside of it. Don't force yourself to.
And why would you say that? Because, is there a certain experience that elicits that response, or what is it?
Going out and filming stories. I'm part of CCN, which is our broadcast journalism club. That was the last thing I thought I'd join. I had no prior experience in any of that. I actually no predisposition to join. I just walked in one day. I was like, this is kind of cool. But going out and filming packages is the definition of anxiety, because you have to ask random people to stop what they're doing, drop everything, and talk to your 14-year-old self on camera, and they get nothing out of it. So the odds technically should be not in your favor, but most people will stop and be like, yeah, sure, why not? But, that was completely outside my comfort zone, in no way. But it still kind of isn't a little bit. Yeah. But if I had not decided to go out, do packages, go out of my comfort zone here and there, I would not have done the CCNN thing, nor would I have become good friends with most of my friends.
And if it weren't for that, how do you think your high school experience would have been now?
I would have lacked a lot of direction, for sure. Because for a while, CCN was a big part of my identity, and it still is. But now my kind of friends are. In other words, I've become more, instead of music Victor, CCN Victor, I'm just Victor. So if I hadn't done that, I probably would have picked something to align myself to again, and not really found good friends, because I probably wouldn't have found something that I'm quite as interested in as CCNN. CCNN's a very interesting mix for me. It's kind of perfect.
Well, Victor, it's been really great having you on. Thanks for coming on. And also, we have a little interview of sorts coming up. You guys on CCNN interviewed me on the podcast, so there's going to be a link to that down in the description. And all those other links you heard from the break are in the description. But right now, to close out this episode, to talk us out, where do you see yourself in 10, 20 years? Go.
I cannot see myself in a specific place. I know I want to see myself probably away from Miami. I like the geography up north and just the general vibe up north a lot better. And not doing anything math or science related. Cannot stand either of the two subjects. So up north, no math or science. That's the dream.
No math, science. No done. The universe is done. We ended it. It's just literary stuff.
Out with math and science, in with mountains. That's it.
We've canceled math and science for mountains.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And do you see any prospects for socially? How do you think your life's going to be?
That's an interesting one, because if I were to move away, I'd have to start new, which is very difficult. I was lucky enough to make friends as I was. So having to do that again in a place where I have absolutely no anchor would be difficult. So depending on where I'd be, but I think I would end up doing what I'm doing now, which would be just find a tight-knit group of people. Yeah, I don't need, ton of people. I just need a few close, good friends. So socially, I'd see myself hopefully with the same friends that I do now. And then if I was up north locally, another group of friends just the same, just close and tight knit.
That is so wholesome. That is really that touched my heart. That really did. Well, anyways, Victor, it was so great having you on. Thanks for being on. Thanks to everyone listening.
Thanks for having me.
And as always, have a really nice day. Goodbye.